God's love in the morning and your faithfulness by night. טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, עלי עשור, עלי נבל, עלי היגיון, בחינוך. שמחתני אדוני בפעלך, במעשה ידיך אענה. מה גדלו מעשיך, אדוני מעולם תחומות שירותיך. טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, עלי עשור, עלי נבל, עלי היגיון, בחינוך. טוב להודות, טוב להודות, טוב להודות, טוב להודות. So Purim is a time that's very much
Wait, say hi
about.
to the audience.
Sure.
Come
Oh,
on.
sorry, I forgot. Wait, it's kind
3 years in
the
Israel, no
conversation.
manners.
No, I
That's
know.
it.
Gee,
It takes 3
4
years.
years. It's
Oh,
a 4 years. It's even worse now.
So be aware. English manners are out in 4 years.
Dear. Yeah.
Now, what did you want to say?
Okay, I don't know. No, just about Purim being a time of joy, right?
Yes, it is a time of joy.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, last time we ended with the with how God's hand is like
Yeah,
led
and you're
the
talking
whole
about the scroll and the
revealing the hidden things.
Yes. That's beautiful. And I mean that's a lesson in itself. Is seeing the hand of God in circumstances where he's, it's not obvious. It's not like he's going, hey, it's
Here
God
I
here,
am,
here I am,
God."
I'm doing this and I'm doing this. It's like seeing him in the ordinary.
We
Seeing
talked
his
about that
hand.
last time. Do you remember? We
Yes,
talked about
exactly.
like
in terms of miracles and
exactly.
things.
So what impresses us more? His miraculous being or his natural being?
Yeah.
And but you said something in our first webcast about this. You said something about a specific verse that people quite often told you.
Yeah, well, this the phrase. I think for a lot of Christians, when we think of the story of Esther, probably for a lot of people, the first verse that comes to mind is what Mordechai said to Esther, when he said, who knows, maybe for such a time as this, you have been brought into into this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
we read it differently. Okay, we actually read it differently. The punctuations, the way you said it.
Okay.
The whole scene there was that Mordechai, he was mourning, right, in Shushan, in the city.
Right.
And he gathered, the children with him, and they fasted and all that. So he was wearing, like clothes.
Sackcloth and ashes.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And then she heard about it, and she was horrified. She sent him clothes, and she said like, what's happening? And then he told her the thing, and then he told her, you should go to the king and speak to him. And then she says, but I wasn't called to the king 30 days now,
right?
And everyone knows that if someone is coming to see the king without an invitation, his life is doomed,
right?
And how could I do it? And then he replied, saying, "Do you think that you can run away from this trouble to the palace of the king?" Right? He says that to her.
Right.
He says to me, "Do you think that you can run away? Do you think you're going to exclude yourself and your people, running, just escaping to the king's palace, and now and you won't be harmed?"
Right.
Because he tells her, if you don't help the Jews, then salvation will come from a different place. It's not you. He's telling her, it's not you. You're just doing the mission. I mean, you're just following. You need to answer the call. But if you wouldn't answer the call, then salvation would come from a different place, and you, and in the name of your father and the family of your father would be extinct. And who knows, right? For such a time you came to majesty. For that, I sent you to the king. You went as a living sacrifice. You sacrificed your life, your future, your potential Jewish family. You went and married a goy.
Yeah, right.
You married a goy, a non-Jew, which is the most terrible thing that a Jewish person can actually do, according to Jewish law, to marry out.
Right. So
you are with the king. You know, you might spend nights with him for that so that in the end you would save yourself and only yourself, and we would all be extinguished.
Wow.
No.
Interesting.
And that is the verse.
Yes.
That's basically it's not like he's saying, Esther, who knows, maybe for that, maybe now is your time. No. That's not the way, because he's saying salvation would come from a different place, and the name of your father will be extinct, and we didn't send you for this, we didn't sacrifice you for this.
Wow. That
you would change the whole thing the other way. And then she said, okay, gather all the Jews and fast 3 days, and up until today we fast.
Right.
Well, not 3 days. We fast 1 day before Purim. Then the day right before reading, because we read the scroll in the evening, in the evening and also in the morning. But during the day before that evening, we fast the whole day. We come fasting. We come fasting to read the scroll, and then after the scroll, the sun has set, and we go back and we come home and eat.
Right.
But we're fasting during that time.
Right.
And then she said, okay, so fast, and I would fast, and my girls. She said, my maids, they will fast. They weren't even Jewish, her maids, right? She said, my maids and I, we will fast as well. Why did you make your maids fast? Okay, she really took it on herself now. Okay, you can really see how Esther has the target. Okay, I'm going to save them. Okay, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
Okay, yes, right. So she even took her non-Jewish maids, to do it with her. And, they had nothing to do with this, what did the maids do? Why did they have to fast? But she understood that everything that comes in contact with her is now part of the mission. Right. So she goes and she goes and she stands in the king's courtyard, or right, and then he sees her, and by chance he's not angry that she came there without an invitation, and he reaches out his how do you call it?
Scepter.
That to her, and then the things come, and it continues to develop.
So she did in fact respond for such a time in.
She did or she didn't?
Well, she did. Eventually,
of course she did. Well, she also responded. I mean, from the beginning, when she went and basically sacrificed herself to be a queen with a non-Jewish king. Yeah. The interesting thing is that people are not really aware of the history, because there were two Dariuses, King Dariuses.
Yes.
Okay, there was Darius the first. He was the father of Ahasuerus. Okay, and he basically defeated Nebuchadnezzar and conquered the Babylonian Empire, which became the Persian Empire.
Right.
Okay, and then basically the first Darius had Ahasuerus, and then we had a second Darius. Okay, a second Darius, and that second Darius basically is the king in the time of Nehemiah. When the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah was a minister of Darius, and he's asking for his permission to go to Israel and help the Jews building the temple, and Darius allows him. But who was that Darius? He was the son of Esther.
Wow.
He was the son of Achashverosh and Esther. So basically, the second Darius, we say Daryavesh. The second Daryavesh was Jewish. He had a Jewish mother.
Right.
Right. He didn't act Jewish. He was a Persian king, but in the end, he was her son.
But he would clearly have known that.
Of course he knew.
Yes.
He was so pro. He helped the Jews build the second temple.
Wow.
So we can see how everything was led, by God's hand. That in the end, you would have a Jewish king to the Persian Empire who would allow them to actually go back to Israel and build second temple. Ezra and Nehemiah. That was in the time of Darius.
Wow.
So, but that is a real that is a huge debate. How could we sacrifice a Jewish woman, which is the holiest thing in Jewish culture? I mean, the holiness, the sanctity of a woman. It's pure and it's holy, and it needs to be respected in all ways. And like we have, how many restrictions we have with women. I mean, to be modest with women and to respect them. And we don't even touch, a woman who is not your wife, you shouldn't even touch, because it's huge. I mean, it's a huge thing. And Mordechai, who was the leader, the Jewish leader of the Jewish community back then, he sent his niece to be with the king, because he understood that there is a principle that sometimes even if we need to break one of the restrictions that God made, we can do it if it's in order to keep the big thing, like keeping the safetyness of the Jewish people. So we can do that.
Right.
Okay, so when the time has come and we need to break the restrictions, we have to break the commands, but in order to make the covenant last, we need to do it. It's how do you say it in English? Like, it's a paradox.
Yes.
It's an absurd.
Yes.
We're breaking the covenant in order to keep the covenant.
In order to keep it. I mean, and also you have to, just looking at it at a practical level or at a personal level. When knowing when that time is, knowing when it's right to do that. I mean, that's huge. Like you could completely miss it, or you could do it. You could do something when it really wasn't right.
It's a huge debate. It's a huge debate in the Jewish Talmud. How could they have done it?
Yeah.
But they did, and of course, it clearly was a good thing they did.
Yes.
That's what basically brought salvation in the end.
Right.
But you see, it's all about revealing the hidden things. That's the Megillah. That's the story of the scroll.
What else do you see that's hidden in Megillat Esther?
Like, really a lot. I mean, really a lot. But I would really want us to talk about the Amalekites, but I feel like our time is.
Go on. Are we out? Are we out of time?
We kind of.
Are we?
Do you want to do another one?
Why not?
Why not?
We'll do 4 this month.
Okay, so
one each week. One for each week. Well, that's good. Then we can kind of keep the whole thing of Purim going. But I'm still mulling over what you just said about the for such a time as this. I can still apply it though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we can read it. We can read it in any way we want. But clearly, Mordechai was angry when he said it. He was angry at her. What do you mean you were not called to the king for 30 days? So now we are doomed because of that? No.
Yes.
That can't be. He was really angry at her when she said that.
But then she decided.
Of course, she's the hero here.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, she is the hero. She saved her entire people, nation. I mean, she really. It's all thanks to her courage. But of course, there was a process to go through there. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing Esther. it's not like I'm criticizing it, but we can see that even our heroes had conflicts.
Right.
Even our heroes had questions.
Well, it's like
and they had maybe doubts in faith, in a way. It's okay.
It's like when God asks us to do something, or you feel God asking you to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wanted to touch just a little bit on what we do together in terms of the Now Weeks and meeting with groups and for you. I mean, what's the such a time as this for you, Gil? Which you've obviously responded to, at least as far as I can see. So, like for each one of us, there are these moments when God is requiring something from us.
I think it's not. I think it's not moments. We're talking about life. I mean, this is what.
Moments.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, this is what God wants us in this life.
Amen.
I mean, He's sending us, and I mean, I can clearly see how things. I'm 32 now. I can easily. I'm very old. But when we started this, I remember saying, I'm 29. I'm 29 years, and all of a sudden I'm 32. But fine. But in any case, I mean, I can clearly go back. I mean, looking back at like just my personal life and see how one thing led to the other. And if it weren't for the first thing, then it would be very hard for me to do the next thing.
Right.
And even though the first thing was hard and I didn't like and I didn't want to go through that stage, I can clearly see how that changed my life in a way that would allow me to do the next thing, and then that next thing was only a stop for the next thing. And this is how personally, I'm just saying personally, this is how I try to look at my life. And I can really go and tell the story. I think it's quite boring for other people to hear.
I think it would actually be really good at some point for you to share.
But clearly, if it weren't for those stages, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today. Right. For sure. No. Yeah. Not that I'm doing such a big thing, but I wouldn't be able.
For such a time as this.
Okay. For such a time as this.
So,
for such a time as this? You can be angry at me when saying that.
Okay, so we'll see you next time.